Hey, I'm Jeff and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be propagating. I'll be slicing up my massive monstera here behind me. I know it can be quite intimidating or scary when you're cutting up a plant that obviously you care about. I know that's the case for me today. Regardless of how many times I've done this in the past, I still get a little bit nervous cutting it up. But I'm going to show you a method to absolutely guarantee its success for propagation, for getting roots and all that kind of stuff. So let's check it out. So there's basically two reasons why I decided to chop this plant up. This one has definitely outgrown the space. The newest leaf that just unfurled last week, it's kind of squished up against the plant shelf as well as the wall. So to manage its size, I definitely need to not only cut off some of these leaves, but I want to propagate the stem just so it can fit in this area just a little bit better. The second reason for propagating this is you can see how thick the stem is up here, but as you follow it kind of all the way down to the base of the plant, it's actually quite thin. So for the long-term health of the plant, I want to make sure that it has enough support and stability to maintain these larger leaves, because if I was to let this little Velcro piece off the plank, the plant would fall over and that stem would snap. Now I only have a few large leaves. Like, this is ridiculous. Okay. This was an empty basement just a couple of years ago. Okay, I think we're in the clear, except this one right down here. I was able to just squeeze this plant on the plant table. You can see it's literally squished up against the roof here, but there's a couple things that I wanted to show in regards to the roots and the soil here. The first thing is, obviously you can see this bag of moss here is the air layering method. This is a way to absolutely guarantee that you're going to get roots when you have a plant still intact. So the concept is you grow roots before you make the cut. So I'm probably going to cut somewhere around here, and then when you take that top cutting, you can literally just put it back in a new container of soil. If you didn't have any of these roots and you just took a top cutting with just these regular aerial roots, these are not soil roots, so your plant will most likely go in some sort of shock. You might lose a couple leaves. It'll probably slow down growth significantly just because it needs to establish a root system large enough to support a massive plant like this. And the same thing goes for small plants as well. You probably won't see growth for a while until it establishes a root system. There's another way you can grow roots as well in conjunction with the air layering method, is when you have aerial roots like this, these big long gangly things, you can actually direct them back into the pot. Aerial roots like these are primarily for support. If you have high humidity in your environment, they will obtain moisture and nutrients as well. But once it reaches the soil line, it will develop into soil roots. I'm going to show you how to redirect these long roots like this. So you just take a utility knife or pruning shears, roughly size it up to the top of the soil, and then just literally slice that off, and then you can just place it in the soil like that, and it's as easy as that. It will grow into the soil, and then that way you can use this part of the aerial root to help support the plant long term. Okay, I actually decided to bring the plant outside. Hopefully there's not too much background noise. It's a little windy. It's super hot out right now, so I'm just taking refuge under this big umbrella. And my helper is back today. She's looking for her toy. I just put it aside. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this plastic bag down. It's probably not going to do much for collecting the soil, but like I said, it's pretty windy today, so I'm just going to lay that down just like that. Ooh, I don't want to destroy this leaf. Stand by. This thing is like super top heavy just because it's leaning off to the side. So what I'm going to do is just kind of lay this down like that, resting up against the terracotta pot here. And then that way I can get this thing out of the pot here, and then we'll chop it up. So first thing you want to do is beat the pot, loosen up that soil, loosen up the roots, and then hopefully it'll just slide out, which it's not going to. It's probably full of roots. That took some finessing for sure. I don't want to damage that newest leaf, but I was pretty much just smacking this pot, and finally it is loose, so it's okay. Look at these roots. That is actually quite surprising. I didn't think it was going to be that root bound, but honestly, when I went and got the plant today, I thought this pot was a lot larger than it is, or than it was. So yeah, I'll be repotting it back into this pot, but with a smaller section of stem as well as roots. Now the part I really want to show are the roots, the air layering roots in this bag. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off these little zip ties here. I just zip tied the bag around the plant. Now all you have to do is just pull off the bag, and being careful not to cut these roots. It actually grew out the bottom of the bag here, so I gotta just cut. This is just one solid bag of roots. It worked out so well. Got some nice thick roots, some secondary roots as well. So it worked out absolutely perfect. Got my little stool. I'm just gonna go around this large area root here and just cut this bag off. I'm just gonna try and slide it out, and then I will cut the stem. There, that is awesome. One big solid mass of roots. Now I was looking at this portion of the stem to make the cut just so it could provide a little bit more stability lower in the pot, but where it starts to really size up is up in this area right here. So I think that's where I'm going to make the cut. And the reason why you want to make a cut in between these nodes is because if you're wanting to keep this section of the plant, it will regrow. It won't grow from where you made the cut. There'll be a little growing eye, which it'll be behind this leaf, this previous leaf right here. So you want to make sure that you're not cutting the growing eye. So that's why you want to cut right in between a node. So I'm just going to tighten up the blade here. Sometimes it can be, well, this is a dollar store blade. Oh, it's tightening up. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to actually get the blade right through the stem, but just kind of do the best that you can. Sometimes like a rocking motion can do it. So yeah, this is thick. So something like that, and now we are free. Safety first, always retract the blade. Just want to show on this area root right here. This is where I've made the cut previously. So you can see I sliced it. It's actually, looks like it branched off into 3 sections. So it continued to grow. So if you are wondering like if it'll regrow if you cut an area root, absolutely it will. So this sprouted into 3 root systems, and you can see it grew down into the soil, and it actually started to grow some of these secondary roots. So these are now soil roots and no longer anchoring roots once it reaches the soil line and kind of grows into this kind of ugly mess. Now when separating these roots, you can be as delicate as you want, or you can be as aggressive as you want. So I've isolated this root right here. So now I'm trying to track down this one. So I'm just pulling some of these roots, and it should be fairly easy. You're probably going to tear some, but that's just what happens with any sort of repotting project. So this one is pretty much isolated here as well. You can see it's got a fairly nice root system there. Now it should be completely separated from the original pot. So I'm just going to take this off, take these, and there you go. I have a fully rooted monstera cutting. Now I'm going to see if I can get some of this moss off of the roots here, because not only does it have a massive root system here, it has a large root system right there. So I'm going to actually take this over onto the grass and spray it off completely. Okay, we have another visitor. Oscar's out. Come here, boy. Hey, it's nice and hot. Okay, so here are the roots. Look at all of these nice roots. This is going to be a nice root system for this plant to continue on to grow. There's a dog barking. People are cutting their grass, never fails. But what a beautiful root system. I was thinking about putting the plant back in its original pot, like this plastic nursery one, but I do have a spare terracotta one that's just slightly larger outside here, so I cleaned it up, sprayed it off, rinsed it off, that kind of thing. But I think it'll fit nicely like that. All the roots are just like coiled up in there. So those are the air layered roots, as well as the ones, the airy roots that I just kind of redirected back into the soil. So this is probably the best way to set the plant up for continued long-term growth, and then I can place the plank right at the back here. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this pot. I think I'll keep it in this terracotta one. So I'm going to show a couple things here first. This is the back of the plant right there, and you can tell it's the back because of those aerial roots kind of poking out of the stem there. So this will be the back. This is where I'm going to be placing the wood plank. Now, I do get a lot of questions about whether I'm concerned about rot with a wood plank. So this one's been in the pot for about a year. This is pine. This is probably the worst type of wood that you can use for a wood plank, just because it's typically a softer wood. So it's been in this pot for about a year. It's a little bit spongy, and I'm just going to try and break this tip off here. So I don't know if it'll work or not, but yeah. So that is kind of the spongy part that was in the soil. This stuff is still good here, so I'm going to reuse this plank. Yeah, I'll just stick it right back in the pot. I'm going to attach it to the plant, and then all we need to do is add soil, and this project is complete. It's not the easiest when you have such a large plant with a root system like that, but it gets done. Okay, I'm like super gross and sweaty already, so it's a scorcher and it's 12 o'clock. I think it's supposed to be like 32 degrees or 33 today, so. Okay, so now all I'm doing, I don't know if you can see me or not, what is this? Just a little dirt. I'm gonna have to rinse the plant off. So I'm actually gonna keep this plant in the pot just because of how large it is, but normally what I like to do is have the plant laying on the ground, get your support stake properly aligned, and then secure it to the plant. But since it's already in the pot, and all I have to do is just put the plank in there like that, I'm simply just going to attach it to the plank like it is. Actually, I have two here. So now you never want to attach the supports. This is just like a plant Velcro. You never want to attach the plank to a petiole, a leaf petiole, only to the main portion of the stem here. So I'm just going to align that, make sure it's upright, and then all you have to do is secure it snugly like that. You can always readjust if you need. Big gust of wind, as long as this umbrella doesn't fall over. So something like that. I'm actually going to use the other one here as well. Maybe push this one down just a little bit. That's on there quite tight. Yeah, the wind is picking up. And then maybe I'll do it just another quick support just up top there, just to really cinch it in like that. Now normally with like all of my repotting projects, I like to use this VeryPlants Molly's Aeroid mix. I don't have a large bag like this, and honestly I got to use up some of this other stuff. I'm probably literally like dripping sweat on camera. So I'm going to start off with just dumping in some of the Fox Farm stuff, and then I'll show you the consistency. So again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to run out and buy expensive soil, but this is already kind of pre-mixed with a bunch of different ingredients. So that's what I like about that soil, is it's just it's already pre-mixed. You don't have to go out and buy multiple stuff. But since I have all of this stuff, here's the orchid. I actually probably should have used this stuff. This has been sitting in my storage for a long time. So this is the premium orchid mix by ProMix. It's a nice chunky mixture, so just gonna dump that in there. Make sure you're outside, because don't breathe that perlite dust in. Yeah. And then just mix it up. Also, I have some of this leftover cactus mix, so it can go in there too. I can get rid of a few bags. Yeah, that should be good. Good to go. And now it's not rocket science. Just take the plant, I like to keep the plank slightly angled backwards, regardless if it's on a plank or a moss pole. I like to have it angled slightly backwards, because if you have it straight up, as the plant grows, it's going to get larger. Oh no, it's getting a little droopy. Got to give it some water. As it grows, it gets quite a bit heavier, and it's going to want to pull that plank forward. So I just like to angle it backwards like that, and then just, I probably should have brought a bigger pot. I got this tiny little scoop. Just start filling it in. Had a little bit of chaos there for a moment, but I just wanted to get this in the pot as quick as I can. Someone came to the door, so I had to deal with that. But now I'm just going to dump in the rest of the soil. And as you can see, the plant is properly secured. I just kind of banged the pot there a little bit just to help settle the soil. And then now I'm just dumping in the rest, just making sure all those roots are covered up like that. Can't really see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to spread that around, just kind of packing it down here as well, making sure that that plant or that support stake doesn't fall over. So I'm not kidding when I say it's scorching out, and even my camera has this little like thermometer icon. So camera's probably getting pretty hot, but I'm going to finish putting in the rest of the soil, give it a good soaking, and then that'll be it. So as you can see, it's fairly, well, the plank's a little bit crooked, but the plant is straight. I have this one leaf just that's kind of growing off to the side, just one rogue leaf. Now I wanted to kind of bend it upwards a little bit just to secure it to the plank, just so it can not be in the way. But as you see, it creases right there. So I think I'm just going to cut that one off. And as much as I don't want to, yeah, it's just kind of in the way. The wind is starting to pick up, but I'm just going to slice this off here quickly. Just somewhere right there for now. That piece will fall off. It'll dry up and fall off on its own. Now I got to give it some water before this plant gets blown over. My umbrella's blowing around. It's just chaos out here right now. There. Give it a good soak, let that drain through. I'm going to pack it down a little bit. So I'm just going to lightly water the leaves, rinse it all off. Let that water kind of drip down into the pot. And I'd call that a success. It actually looks really good, much better than it was. So had that really long kind of gangly stem, but it's been corrected and I think it looks fantastic. This leaf I'm a little bit worried about because it's looking a little droopy, but hopefully it kind of perks back up with a good soaking here like this. Okay, I'm back inside where there's air conditioning, and look at the fitment of the plant now. So it fits in nicely in the corner. I can see all these large leaves now. Even the newest one, it was kind of tucked away at the back of the wall there. So it fits nice. It's a great height, and I'm really happy with how this whole repotting procedure went. Considering the size of the plant, it's absolutely massive. So I think that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you have any comments or questions about anything I've done in this video or the process itself, or if you have any other suggestions that other viewers might be interested in, please leave it down in the comment section. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support. Take care, everyone. Bye.